Good afternoon, everybody, and we are really excited about today. We hope that everyone on the call today has watched day one's video, because we're going to be picking up from there, and we're really looking forward to progressing further today. Soleh, if you want to...
Hello, welcome back. I'm ready. Are you?
I'm ready.
Very excited about today. Very excited about today. I think yesterday we made some really good progress for day one, looking at the grit and how that's surfacing in our life. And then with that beautiful visualization, we moved into awareness, the second step, to really figuring out how all these different pieces, random bits of experience fit together. And we started getting a picture of what, the bigger picture might look like. But I'm really excited about today, because today we move into the fourth stage, which is a stage of responsibility. And I know that this word, I feel like responsibility gets some negative press, but I actually find it a very empowering word, because responsibility means that we can identify what part we can play in something, and which then means we can change things. So we're not just carrying something or being the victim of something, or just passively accepting something. We can be we can have agency and influence and power to change our energy and to change our story as we have known it so far. So stage 3, what we're going to focus today is all about responsibility. I'm going to say a little bit more about this in a second, but I really would love to set the intention for today, as well as we did yesterday. Our intention for today is to take responsibility and identify your part in the story, with the intention of being presented with energetic imbalances that can be healed via your ancestral line, specifically one of your parents. So this is our intention for today, to hold us, for all of us, in our collective energy for today. And when I say take responsibility for our part of the story, I think it's worth chatting about this a little bit more. So I certainly have a very active, logical, mental brain, and I find that it helps me if I kind of give a little breadcrumb to my active mental energy. So it's like, okay, I have a snack now, something to nibble on, I can settle down. So let's chat a little bit more about what stage 3 is about. And then we're going to do this another beautiful deep dive into our energy and healing and this next step. So for me, this stage 3 of responsibility is when really we start realizing that whatever is in our energy, whatever we have experienced yesterday, is not who we are, is part of who we are. And this might seem like I'm just playing with the language and it's a very small difference, but if you watched yesterday, you will know about my nature and being a planner, an organizer, very much a structured person, and I wear this with pride. I will say, yeah, I'm a very structured person. You can expect plenty of planning from me, etc. It is, I am a planner. I am a structured person. So I'm sure all of us have sides of our energy that we very much use as either our shield or such an integral part of our identity. But stage 3 that we're going to focus on today in our healing process, it's all about saying, well, I have this as part of my energy, but it's not my full identity. And as such, if there is something that I don't like, that doesn't resonate with me, that no longer serves me, that is just even blocking me and preventing me from having or doing things that are important to me, then we can tweak that energy. And it's not going to feel quite as undermining as thinking I completely need to change my identity, because we will realize that it's just one part of us, something that we can take out, work with before we reintegrate in our energy. Now, this we can perhaps you've thought about this in the past, but one of the things that maybe has prevented you from completing this step is, okay, if I take this thing out of me, I don't want to be the organizer anymore. I don't want to be the planner, or whatever, word that resonates with you in your individual situation. But what's the other option? If I'm not this, who am I going to be? If I'm not a survivor, if I'm not a mother, if I'm not, whatever, word or archetype you started playing with in your mind, or definitional label of yourself, what's the option? What's the alternative? So this is the process that we're going to go through today. We're very much going to focus in taking that responsibility, figuring out why this part of the story is still with us, why it's still playing out for us, why not something else, why this, why it's still so relevant, resonant, and present in our energy. How can we shift things going forward? And most importantly, we are going to start opening up to options and what could be a new way of experiencing our energy. Have I missed anything?
Well, I don't believe you've missed anything. And what I'm really sort of brewing up is to get a really good example of this. So I would like to look at this in your energy, like we did yesterday, around, asking you some questions and seeing where we get to around you being curious as to not needing to plan to the detail for 6 weeks time and just being focused, what would you say that some of those stories that were playing out yesterday, and maybe if you could just summarize the story for those who've just joined us so that they can follow on. So if you just want to summarize your bubble that we did, because we will put our stories in our bubble yesterday, and just pull that in and just summarize what was going on for you yesterday. And then I'm going to do some investigating. I'm going to take my microscope and ask some questions.
See, I feel like my dirty laundry is now completely public, so that's no problem. we can share the ins and outs of this discovering and healing journey. So yesterday we focused on my grit that was coming. So stage 1 that was coming up for me was some anxiety, some almost compulsive need for planning and organizing things ahead of time, just a sense of needing to have a plan in place and a structure to make sure that everything that I'm responsible for or that I'm participating to gets completed. And then as we went into, so all of these things seem kind of quite, superficial, not so meaningful, etc. But actually, as we went into a deeper dive, we realized that there was a connection there with my ancestral line on my maternal side and my mom specifically, and the things that they were really playing out on a deeper level were that basically one of the stories in my family was that my mom was never a finisher, so she would never complete things, and I reacted to that with like an opposite behavior. So we can either mirror or create an opposite behavior to a certain story that plays out. So for me, I never give up. I'm always plan things ahead. I am an over deliverer. My self-worth is very much based of how much I can get stuff I can get done, which in the past has led to things like burnout, because I completely disconnect from my own needs, physical needs, basic needs, and I go into this over delivery mode. I need to finish this at any cost, no matter what. So because I'm quite time poor at the moment, this anxiety about not being able to be this planner and over deliverer has really been showing up.
Brilliant, Solé. So the next thing is we're going to work a little bit around that responsibility. So thank you for updating everybody on that. I just see we're admitting a couple more people. So welcome to those who've just joined. And we're just going to go through what is our responsibility, what is it that we're doing. So what I'd really love you to do, because you've just told you that story, I'd like you to just center in your heart for a minute, ground yourself, turn down the analyzer. In fact, please can you turn your analyzer right off? And just turn down the noise. And just forget that we're in this environment that we're in. And what I would really like you to get an idea of is this character of yourself, outside of yourself, and just get a feeling around what they might be believing, like what are their beliefs around their spiritual being, and kind of possibly what are the mental characteristics of this? What are the thoughts that might be going on? What are the repetitive thoughts? Where are they linked to? Possibly the mental patterns. And as you're experiencing those patterns, what will really happen is that you'll start feeling the emotions of what you are experiencing. And as you're doing that, what is really happening in your physical body? What shape is your physical body? What are the dis-eases and blocks within the physical body? And really, what is going on for you around your environment as this character steps into this environment? And then I'd love you to see how you're relating to your grandparents and your parents as this character, and then how you're relating to your family around you, your aunts, your uncles, the siblings, and then those in a love relationship, in a romantic relationship. How does this kind of play out in that relationship? And the people around you. And then how does that play out with your colleagues? Really creating this story and this character who is playing out these things outside of you. And then your friends and really the rest of the world as to what is going on for this character. And having really been this character, or feeling or seeing this character in your mind's eye, are you able to summarize a name, an archetype? You know, you're really good with archetypes. What about an archetype for this character that very much resembles a part of you?
This is very interesting because it's kind of the opposite of what I was expecting. So it goes to show how much our mental energy sometimes just gives us an image that is not actually a real reflection of our energy. So I actually saw this image of this very tired old man with a very wrinkly face walking up a dune in a desert, just dressed with rugs, sunburned, no water, cracked lips, very dry skin, just very raggedy and tired, and a sense of and nothing and no one around him, just this one character walking up these dunes in a desert, and a sense of having to continue on this journey, and feeling that there is no help or connection or anyone around. So when you ask me how does that connect with others, in fact it doesn't. It's literally a character that appeared in a desert, so really struggles to see any resources or help or support of any type around him. But there is a sense that there is, spiritually and mentally, that there is a sense of I must endure, I must continue, almost like maybe a pilgrim would do, or someone who is, you know, continuing on this very difficult journey for a higher purpose. So no matter how dangerous or how tired he is, he looks extremely old, he's still carrying on. So that's not what I was expecting, thinking about efficiency and planning necessarily. But that was very interesting. And specifically when you asked me about if you bring into the picture your ancestral line and kind of almost not force the visualization, but making an effort to bring those other elements into it, I could see, like especially my maternal grandparents and my mom behind this figure, this character, kind of pushing him uphill, not necessarily in a helpful way, more in a poking, you must continue type of way. So very, very interesting. And I think, yeah, I mean, and when you ask me, like, does a name come up? Does an archetype or something? I think what came up for me was something along the lines of the endurer. So there is something really around endurance that came up for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you feel comfortable with giving the archetype as part of yourself, the endurer, as part of your shadow, as part of something where we've got some grit, some awareness, some metaphor outside yourself? Would you feel comfortable with what you've just said? Because obviously we're going to hold it there and work with our audience around that. And for those of you who are worried, we're going to do a little bit of a longer visualization. But I have to say, I'm really surprised at the outcome, because Sola had mentally preconceived something else prior to that conversation. So yeah. I'm delighted that it worked.
Yes.
As opposed to the mental, to the mental kind of, because obviously we had a conversation about this prior to today. And so what is really interesting is what showed up in your mind's eye, and how visualization and our innate intelligence is able to work for us.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that what I received from my logical brain was something that I actually liked. So it was something that was quite organized and efficient and task-oriented. But then when I got into a deeper connection with my energy, I absolutely, definitely do not want to be the extremely old, tired, thirsty, sunburned, wrinkly old man, all by himself in a desert, walking up the dunes. That's not, I mean, that wouldn't go on my vision board. Let's put it this way. It wouldn't be something that is aspirational, but I think it's very accurate. I think it's very accurate, and I think it actually reflects quite painfully parts of me. But I am not that. I'm not that.
You are definitely, I mean, look at you. You are definitely not that. No, wrinkly and and in the desert, you definitely not that. And in fact, that would make you feel quite uncomfortable because your skin is always exceptionally well cared for and things like that. And also the lack of water, the lack of flow, which for me stands out as we're talking around the desire to flow, and yet the skin, the environment. You know, we spoke about your environment, yesterday. So the environment of the desert for you is quite an unusual place. You come from where the sea, your ancestral line is the ocean. It's near water. So the desert, although it's across the ocean from Italy, where you come from, it's still not necessarily part of that line. So very interesting that came up. As a if there'd been heat or whatever. So for me, it's fascinating how we can actually, in these visualizations, and I'm saying this because I really would love people to go into that place of stillness, turn down the noise today when we do our visualization, and we're going to try and get you to get into an environment that you wouldn't have thought of or whatever. So unless there are any questions before I start, and we do the visualization and the work with yourselves, what I would really like you please to do is turn off your social media, turn off your emails, turn down any noise, news that might be playing in the background, whatever that is. I would really, really invite you to turn it all down and turn it all off, because we're going to go on a journey and we're going to explore that character in you that has stemmed from the energy of an ancestral line. So that character that you had yesterday. And I'm just, if those of you who have who've just joined us, I would suggest you just start here. We don't worry about that. If you haven't watched the first, follow me, see what comes up, because what will happen is you will start resonating with the information around this archetype. It might just not link to an ancestor. It might just be something that comes up for you. So please don't worry if you didn't watch yesterday. This visualization will show up for you and show the responsibilities around, and I think that what are the responsibilities, and I think we can go back and afterwards we can answer that question, Sole, around what you feel the responsibilities are around the visualization. But what I think is important is that we get people out of their heads, and please don't worry about naming the archetype or what is an archetype. Don't worry about that. Just let go of any of a destination. I really don't have a destination, don't have a preconceived. We're just opening up ourselves to curiosity. Right, I think that's enough lecturing on visualization. And let us just take this wonderful opportunity. We've taken time out of our day to show up. And let us follow the breath. Breathing in and just breathing out anything that is disturbing you. Just let it go. Breathing in, beautiful, clean air, and just breathing out any frustrations. Just breathing in and breathing into the physical body, and just breathing out and allowing ourselves to get heavier and heavier on our chairs. And allowing ourselves to connect with the earth energy, to connect with our incarnation at this time in our evolving species. In this very fast world, we are just taking the present moment in time to ground ourselves and feel connected to the earth. And as we connect to the earth, we allow this energy to flow in and around us, supporting us, holding us, and just feeling the holding on the unconditional love of Mother Earth. Because Mother Earth is the true mother of this incarnation. She holds the space for us at this time in a loving, unconditional way. And as we do that, we allow ourselves to center in our heart space. And from our heart, we go to the highest point of energy that we can reach, that energy that is higher than our own. It may be the universe for you, it may be God, it may be the source of creation, it may be the divine. And we just connect to that beautiful place of energy. We just feel that energy flowing in and around us. And we just feel ourselves being held in a beautiful place where we can open our hearts, curiosity. We can open our hearts to observing with compassion. We just open our hearts to a place of acceptance of what shows up, and we just open up our energy. Now, once again, I'd like you to take your attention to behind your eyes. And as you focus behind your eyes, I'd like you to take your awareness to the center of your head. And in the center of your head, there are two buttons. One is the analyzer button and one is the noise button. So let us just focus on turning both of these buttons. Let us do the noise button first today. So take that noise dial or button, and I want you to turn and turn and turn and turn it off. So you're in a place of peace. And then I would like you to take that analyzer, and I'd like you to turn that analyzer down, 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 and off. And once again, I would love you to visualize this beautiful room of which we are going to create a fantastic scene for you to play out today. So just clearing this room. And again, if there is anyone in that room, for the moment, we're just going to ask them to leave such that we can connect with ourselves. And we just feel ourselves being in a place of stillness, sitting in our chair, in our room. And all of a sudden, there is a box that arrives in your room. Magically, a beautiful box that has shining, lovely energy. And we go towards the box. And inside the box is the most beautiful outfit to go to an evening event. It fits us perfectly and works exactly the way that we would like something to wear. And as we lift out this outfit and we put this outfit on, we see a special invitation. And all you need to know is that this invitation is an invitation for you to go to a movie premiere where you are going to review a movie. Isn't this wonderful? Isn't it exciting? And as you go towards the door of your room, there's a beautiful car waiting to take you to the cinema, and you get driven to this beautiful cinema. Just get a visual of a beautiful cinema in front of you. Beautiful lights. Just this building that is about entertainment. It's about fantasy. It's about a wonderful story. And we all go into the cinema together as a collective group. All of us move into the cinema. Everyone is there. We are all together. And you look on your invitation, and there is a specific screenplay that you need to go to, and you just observe the screen, and we all make our way into different screenplays where the movie is about to start. We're feeling excited. We are not sure what is going to happen. We are extremely curious. But what we do know is that we are going to see something on the screen. And as you do, the curtains open, and there is a poster and a picture of a part of yourself on the screen. And as you see that, you feel the personal story, which we put into a bubble, coming down and starting to play out on the screen ahead of you. You are sitting in your beautiful seat, and there in front of you starts a short story of a part of you being in there. You recognize the main character as being yourself. What is the main genre of what is going on the screen for you? When is it set? And just get a feeling of exploring a certain theme on your screen. And who are the other characters around you? Can you recognize them? And just get a sense of the scene playing out in front of you. And what it is that this main character, which represents yourself, what is that they are doing? How do they look physically? Can you get an amazing physical image of this character and get a sense of how they feel in their body? Are they well? Are they ill? Are they tired? Are they joyful? Is there any physical thing going on for them? What is their environment? What is the environment around you? And then, how does that react into an emotional? How does that react into a feeling? What is that character feeling? And possibly, what is that character thinking as those thoughts and those emotions kind of run together? Maybe it's the thought and then the emotion, or the emotion and the thought. Really, what is coming up for that character in the screen on the story, and what are they believing? What belief system might this character be running? And as you are involved in this mystical character representing yourself, get a sense of their people around them. Is there a sense of their grandparents and their parents? Is there a sense of siblings, brothers and sisters? Are there children around? And really get a sense of this character and whose family members. Maybe there is no one. Maybe that character still remains alone. Just allow the visuals to come up as possibly a character or a response of this character to a love relationship or to ones that they love and have a romantic relationship with. How is this character responding to their loved one? Does this character that represents you have any friends? And are there any influences from these friends? Are they colleagues? And how is this character relating to the world? Just allow those images to come. I'm going to leave you to explore this for a while. What are the needs of this character playing out in your story on the screen? What might this character desire? What nurturing might this character need? And as you visualize this character, just see if anything pops in your head that might suggest an archetype, an avatar, that explains the characteristics. Just one word that might just pop into your mind's eye. And now the film is coming to an end, and we just have a look. The titles are coming up at the end of the film. And the director of the film happens to be you. The main character is a part of you. And we give gratitude and thanks for this fantastic film that we have seen. We've been able to review it from a distance outside of ourselves. And what we do is we create a snapshot, a photograph that is not part of us, but outside our energy. And we take a snapshot of this character, depicting how it is physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and how it relates to the world. And we start making our way to the entrance of the cinema. We see our friends that have been in the Zoom call. We see all those names popping up. And we make our way to the entrance, and our driver is there to take us back into the center of our head. Just bring your awareness back into the center of your head, keeping the visual outside of you that you have. And just ask yourself to start grounding yourself into the earth, feeling that beautiful energy flowing in and around you, bringing your energy in. We've opened our energy, so I just invite you to draw your energy in, placing yourself in a bubble of permission, raising your vibration, holding the information as you bring yourself slowly back into the call. Just taking a bit of time, maybe having a little stretch or a big yawn. Woohoo! And yes, let's come back into the Zoom, everybody. And if some of you just come back into your consciousness. You're back from the cinema. You might have popcorn on your shirt. Just wipe the popcorn off. And yes, bringing yourself back into the Zoom. So, Sala, very interestingly, how you actually did the visualization, and how did anything more come up around your character?
Possibly a couple of different things. I would say I was able to really detach myself a little bit more from it, and really getting a sense of what the needs for the character are, and almost then detaching the needs from the character, because I know that although I don't resonate with that character, I don't want to be the wrinkly man in the desert, but I can sympathize with the needs that he's carrying. So I sympathize with the needs for flow and nurturing and shelter and rest. So I could feel that as I was focusing on the needs, those actually were resonating with me, and I was getting more and more distant from the character, and it was kind of getting more and more further away from me versus being a part of me, but I could really resonate with the needs.
Brilliant. Wonderful. And today, if we had a look at and I'm just chatting until we start asking people to put their experiences in and ask some questions. But really, for me, what is important is the responsibility, that the detachment, so that we're not wearing. You're not going to now wear that. Heaven forbid you start looking wrinkly and old and in the desert.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, so we're not going to wear but what is our responsibility with this imagery that we've got today? How do you feel we need to observe that? What is our part in it?
I think for me personally, the fact that I started the journey and I could have opted out at that journey at any time, and I decided not to. So I think we need to take responsibility not just for taking part in something, but also not to leave the table when we actually had enough. So, you know, if you're full, if you had enough of something, whether it's a good or a bad thing, because I think there is plenty of helpful patterns that we receive from our ancestors and our parents. But there is a point where a helpful archetype or a helpful pattern then turns into something that is an extreme and that is limiting. So I know that people are still reflecting on things, and I know there is a lot to process. What I would love to do is I'm going to share in the chat just some examples of some of the names that you might want to associate with the archetype, with the main character that you've seen in the movie. This is by no means a full list. It's just something for you to maybe read and say, oh, actually, yes, this character could fit into this category. And for you to create that name, that label, to identify it even more so away from your own energy. So I'm going to share that is a list in the chat if you want to refer to that for your own personal healing journey. And if there is anyone who would like to share their experience, please feel free. It's very interesting, Marianne, that you said my movie is exactly what I would love. Ultimate dream contains what I don't have, which came up today. So hopefully you managed to connect more with your desires and needs. But it is also important as you were interacting with this archetype to perhaps see what parts of this character are holding you back from having what you need and what you desire. So Anne-Marie says yes to the farmer in me. Beautiful. So people have some really beautiful images that came up for them.
So Bonnie is asking, can it be a pattern that can be positively or negatively currently using in a way that depletes the energy for positive change? Absolutely, because Solid doesn't want to lose her planning skills. She doesn't, we don't want Solid to lose her planning skills.
The world needs them.
or her ability to push through when we need to get things done. But that it's not the default behavior. It's not, because these archetypes come and go. And often when we choose the shadow of the archetype, or the negative archetype. So I'll just use an example of one of mine. One of mine can be, there are times when I manipulate and there are times when I'm influencing. And they're very similar, but it's around getting that balance right of the being the influencer and putting my thoughts across. And then there are times where I'm the decision maker, which is another archetype. So we can run into a number. I mean, we're just really focusing on ones at the moment, just one, but they all play various roles and we switch from them. But it's when we consistently are feeling the grit that we did yesterday, relating to what is that archetype and identifying. We don't want to, and those who've got beautiful images, I'd like you over today, so Marianne and whatever who got the beautiful images, what is the counter image of that? What is the image that you're in now, which is beautiful in your fantasy film and whatever, what is that image? But what we want to be doing is identifying in a way outside of us that we can change. So that is really the process, and taking responsibility for the shadow, because it's all very nice to say love and light and being there, but what is that we need to work with within us?
Mm-hmm. And definitely, and I think what's interesting about what's showing up for people is that maybe in my experience and my example, I don't think that many people would say, yes, I want to be the old man in the desert, but there are some images, character, and archetypes that can be a little bit more sneaky. So, for example, Meg is saying that one of the characters that she had showing up was the knight in full armor. That looks very beautiful, very glamorous, but then what is the shadow side of that? So we can have archetypes that on paper sound fantastic. For example, we can have, someone who is maybe the jester. That's quite fun, to be the jester in a situation, to bring laughter and lightheartedness to a situation, but then maybe we are avoiding something as well. So all these archetypes might come up as a little bit more appealing and digestible for some of us, but if they're coming up right now, there might be parts of our energy that we really need to tweak and transform into a new energy for the you now. So what I would suggest for you for today is to really make as many notes as possible from your visualization, and you will be sent the recording as well. So if you need to maybe go through some of the prompts that Cindy used during the visualization to remind yourself or some of the aspects of your movie, you can do that. Really take that snapshot from the end, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and see what the needs and desires of your archetype are. And even if this archetype still somehow feels to you like something positive, like something that you feel quite comfortable with, I would really invite you to open up to how this archetype can develop and grow with you in a way that allows you to expand even more. So does your archetype need a bit of a makeover? Does it need a bit of a promotion? Does it need a transformation to another level of its energy? Perhaps it's been serving you okay so far, and there isn't any major change or tweak, but there is a huge opportunity for you to expand into a new energy. And remember that the entire intention of us being here today and yesterday is all around how we expand and develop our energy and heal in the new now. So how we can take things one step further. So lots of comments. Let's catch up with those.
Yeah, I'd like to just give some feedback and understand Lisa's comments. So Lisa, there in your visualization, there is almost I want to say there are two characters that are going in there, and I'm going to talk about and the word witch, because we identify the word witch as being something that is not of the light. And actually, I call Solo a witch all the time because she does magic in the positive, and it's actually a compliment. So I would really invite you to work with, although there seems to be this dual personality going on around the shadow and the light, what is the light of that relationship? And then what is the shadow that is playing out for you, and taking that personal responsibility of the light and the shadow within you and the responses that you're doing, because it's the shadow that is trying to shine over the light. And actually what we're wanting is that happy medium and owning the shadow of your ancestral line, and then using that to respond differently from yourself, Lisa. So really try and work with that imagery rather than the witch. It's like, how do we bring the light into that, and what is the light of that alchemy and the good things and the ability to shift? You want to take the next one, Soleil?
I think it's really interesting how we have perfect pictures in our mind of what things should look like, and these have been showing in the the movies for people. So how there is this beautiful, for example, one of the comments is around a beautiful meal with a happy family, living on a farm environment, just beautiful kind of postcard, Hollywood movie type of situation. And then when this doesn't happen in our day-to-day life, then we get quite angry and resentful that is not happening. So really looking at how this disconnect or this archetype that we built for ourselves, whether it is the perfect mother, whether it is the dream family, etc., whether those are helping us or not. And I would say, like, again, those archetypes that look so beautiful on the screen are probably the ones that are a little bit more challenging to deal with, because we still feel a desire, an aspiration to be like them. Again, no one wants to be the old wrinkled man, but probably we want to be, the beautiful, very organized mom that serves, beautifully handmade home cook meals every day to their kids. So this is really a point for reflection, to see how these archetypes are limiting us versus inspiring us versus expanding our healing, and really asking ourselves, where does that picture come from, and is it still relevant for us or not? Okay.
So I'll come back to Lisa. Lisa, it's neither one or the other. It's the story. So on one hand, it's around that relationship, and that relationship is playing in a behavior of yours. So it's looking at that and what those two archetypes are playing out for you right now. This isn't about them, it's about you. This is about our personal responsibility, bringing it back to what it is. What it is, I mean, the old man in there has nothing to do with Soleil's way of being right now, but it's showing her what in this picture needs to change. So it's using metaphor. This is not literal. It's using metaphor to come outside of us. The other thing, Soleil, about the dinner table, and I think you will relate to this as well. I had a mother and I have a sister. In fact, I have two sisters who love to do big Christmases, where everyone is supposed to be sitting around the table. And if I got a picture of all these people where I'd cooked and these people sitting there smiling, definitely it's something around, for me, it's definitely something around that is, what is my part? Am I really happy? Is there true happiness within that for me? Or is that showing me something? You wanted to own the organizer earlier on. And this is how we're relating it. Dig deeper, guys. Dig deeper into that picture you've got. The farmer with the water and the lovely field. What is that all about? Dig deeper. Dig deep into what the responsibility is in those pictures.
Yes. And be ready to grow and expand, because we're going to take today's pictures, today's character, tomorrow, and we're going to transform them and figuring out a plan on how to bring that positive transformation into our relationships. Okay, let's remember that our starting point is we want to heal our connection, or part of our connection, with one of our parents. This is our journey today, and for these 3 days that we're spending together. So this is the final step that we're going to focus on tomorrow. Taking this picture, these fancy images and movies that we received today, really reflecting on them overnight, really let them ground into your awareness, in your energy. And then tomorrow we're going to do the transformational work of taking that picture. Hopefully by then that you might have a name, you might have something that you can refer to from the archetypes, or something that you wanted to make up yourself. And then we'll create new images, new ways of operating. I very much hope mine is not going to be a wrinkly old man, but who knows? Maybe it's going to be an empowered wrinkly old man with a nice little cocktail somewhere. Maybe you will find a nice resting place somewhere in this desert, and then evolve and find a strategy for us to bring that vision into reality for us going forward.
Thank you, one and all, for joining us today. It's 3:00 and we've come to end of the session. We look forward to hearing your archetypes tomorrow, and we will be back tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you.
Bye.
Take care,
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.